5 days left of the transfer window, the clock is ticking, but Arsenal are still active. So today we'll find out what's happening in their pursuit of a new right back, as well as getting a massive update on midfield, as we discuss a blockbuster move from Moises Caicedo. We'll also get all of the latest team news, as Arsenal take on Man City in the FA Cup. Yo, what is going on, guys? My name is Babs14 and welcome back to your boys channel. I hope you guys are doing sensational as always. A massive game in Manchester, the transfer window is soon coming to a close, things are happening at the Emirates, so my friends, smash a like if you enjoy the content, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and help your boy on his road to 150,000 subscribers. But let's get straight into the latest Arsenal transfer news. Arsenal have movement in the right back department. With Ben White starting and Tomiyasu as cover, there is no longer a need for Cedric Soares, and he is on his way out, as according to James Ollie, Fulham are set to complete the signing of Cedric Soares on a 6-month loan. There is no obligation to buy, and Fulham will cover his wages, which are close to a total of £100,000 a week. This transfer is finally coming to a conclusion, but more importantly, £100,000 a week. Another example of the power of Keir Rabshin, a super agent and the guy that represents Cedric Soares. And he was signing Mikel Arteta's first ever transfer window, but that was when Arsenal still had a certain Raul Sanllehi, and that guy was known for some dodgy dealings. But as Fabrizio Romano confirms, Cedric is on the verge of becoming a Fulham player, and here we go soon. But there is still one bit of complication, as they already have 2 loanees from other Premier League clubs, and you're not allowed to have 3. According to Sky Sports, Fulham are working on a solution, so they can complete the signing of Cedric Soares. But in terms of his replacements, Arsenal are eyeing up Real Valladolid, even Fresneda, but there is a lot of competition, but the main competitors are of course Borussia Dortmund. And according to Fabrizio Romano, Dortmund would be open to letting even Fresneda stay at Valladolid until the end of the season, but there's been no decision yet made by the player. Arsenal are expected to decide the next step after closing the Cedric Soares deal, and there's also one more German club interested. Even if Arsenal were to sign Fresneda, most likely he would not be an Arsenal player until the start of next season, as they want him back on loan. And to be honest, in terms of development, it's either sitting on the Arsenal bench or starting week in week out in La Liga. Experience is the best way for a young player to grow. Arsenal can certainly afford this deal, but it's all over to the player. Where does he want to go? But now it's time to unleash your inner Mikel Arteta, as this video is brought to you by the wonderful people at Top 11. The best mobile football game, from the stadium, the kit and the logo, down to all the tactics, formations and so much more. This game gives you a lovely feel of what it's like to become a manager. And here's how I'm setting up my team. I'm going for the 4-3-3 formation, just like Mikel Arteta's Arsenal, and the in-game features are amazing, able to fully customize the tactics. I am going for the high pressing system, zonal man marking and an attacking team mentality. The graphics are fantastic, and check out this beauty of a free kick. 260 million players worldwide have played, so you get to go head to head against managers from across the world, but you can also play against your friends, form your own leagues, available on all mobile platforms and web browsers, all for the price of absolutely nothing. That is right, you can download Top 11 for completely free. So what are you guys waiting for? Go down there and hit the link down below in the description and download the Top 11 app. And it's time to find out if you really have what it takes to become a manager. But now let's move on to the midfield, where also do have Thomas Partey, who's been standing out this season. But behind him we had the likes of Mohamed El-Neni, but according to reports he has suffered a long-term knee injury, which could see him out indefinitely. See, the issue that Arsenal have now is if El-Neni is injured, we only have Sambi Lokonga. And according to reports, Arsenal have rejected an approach from Monaco to sign Albert Sambi Lokonga on loan, with Mikel Arteta unwilling to part with another midfielder after losing Mohamed El-Neni to a long-term injury. But even with Sambi Lokonga, is that enough to compete for a Premier League title? If, dare I say, Thomas Partey was to get injured, Arsenal would be in big trouble. And that's why, as Mikel Arteta says, we need some more cover in midfield, if we can. In this market, it's difficult to do that, and there are concerns. El-Neni is injured, so let's see. Arsenal are on the market for a midfielder. They are looking for an opportunity, and there's quite a few options. According to reports, Arsenal have interest in signing Amadou Onana from Everton, and could also look at Weston McKennie as another option. Now, in terms of McKennie, he is of course a US international playing for Juventus in the Serie A. He's decent and has been linked to an Arsenal transfer in the past. Juve of course are in a crisis. 15 points deducted, their entire board is resigned, and they are in need of money. So in terms of price tags, we're talking £25 million. But as things stands, Leeds United are the team most advanced for Weston McKennie. But what about Amadou Onana, a standout player in a very poor Everton team? Arsenal certainly have interest, but so do Todd Bowley's Chelsea. According to reports, Chelsea have had a bid rejected for Amadou Onana. But in terms of the player himself, according to the same reports, Onana has declined to join Chelsea. If the player has said no, then it stings you love to see, but of course in terms of Todd Bowley's Chelsea, remember the whole Mykhailo Mudryk saga where he wanted to go to Arsenal? He's now a Chelsea player. As much as Arsenal like the player, the price tag is upwards of £50 million, and in the final days of the market, it's going to be a very difficult deal to do. But what about a young wonder kid? Let's talk about Ibrahim Bamba of Victoria Guimarães. As according to James Bench, Arsenal are firm admirers of the Italian youngster. No bid has been placed, but they have been tracking him for some time. Other clubs in the Premier League and beyond also have the 20-year-old on their radar. Bamba has been a standout player in Portugal, and at 20 years of age is a lot of potential. An all-action defensive midfielder, averaging 3 tackles per game. He's a duel-winning monster, winning a whopping 70% of his ground duels. But in terms of on the ball, he's also elegant. He glides with the ball, and one of his standout performances came this season against Benfica, a team that is top of their league. But in this game, they were held to a 0-0 draw, and the man of the match was Ibrahim Bamba, with 5 clearances, 3 interceptions, 3 tackles, and 3 out of 5 long balls completed. Bamba is a very versatile player, also able to play as a centre-back. And in terms of their defensive ability, it's very important because if you look at Thomas Partey, he's got a lot of responsibility, in charge of all the transitions and all the counter-attacks, having a defensive midfield profile that is very good in terms of covering ground, winning his tackles and his duels. It makes Bamba a very standout profile. But in terms of likelihood, Bamba reportedly has a £26 million release clause in his contract, and he's a player that would be happy to be a bench player at this stage of his career. And that's the issue that Arsenal have. There are very few players in Europe that have the quality of Thomas Partey that when it comes to Arsenal, that are affordable and want to sit on the bench. Signing a young prospect, it could be an option for Arsenal in this specific transfer window. But what about Martin Zubimendi of Real Sociedad? Well, according to reports, Sociedad have told Arsenal they will have to pay Zubimendi's €60 million release clause if they want to sign the midfielder this month. Now, Zubimendi is definitely a profile that Mikel Arteta does admire, and there's no surprise why, because of his quality on the ball, a passing master seen as the heir to Sergio Busquets. That price tag is definitely very affordable and Arsenal can pay it, but this is all down to the player, because reports have claimed he wants to stay in Sociedad at least until the end of the season. But now let's talk about Brighton's Moises Caicedo. According to Fabrizio Romano, 3 clubs are exploring to sign, and those clubs are Chelsea, Arsenal and Liverpool, all being informed on the situation, but Brighton are not intention to sell unless they receive a really huge proposal. With 5 days left of the window to sign Caicedo with a price tag reported, this deal would be gargantuan. According to Fabrizio Romano, don't rule out a surprise from the Gunners late on this January, as we saw in the summer. Liverpool want to sign him, but so do Chelsea, and they have made an offer of £55 million, which was rejected. But according to Simon Collins, Chelsea have now cooled their interest in Moises Caicedo as Arsenal prepare to fight, and the Gunners may have to pay £75 million to land him in this window. That sort of price tag would be record breaking, even if Arsenal were to agree a deal. With the way Todd Bowley operates, as we saw with Mykhailo Mudryk, this guy is unpredictable and anything is possible. But in terms of Brighton, they are looking at replacements, with reports claiming they're looking at RB Leipzig's Amadou Haidara. Is that an indication that they're braced for a sale? The signings of Ben White and more recently Leandro Trossard in this specific transfer window, Arsenal have shown that they have a good relationship with the Brighton board and they can make a deal happen. But in terms of price tags, is Caicedo worth £75 million? Well, here's a look into the 21-year-old stats radar this season, and as you guys can see, he excels in terms of aerial duels. He rarely gets dribbled past and is also a decent ball distributor. But at 21 years of age, this guy is far from the finished article. There is so much potential and so much room for improvement. But let's compare him to another target, West Ham United's Declan Rice. Caicedo averages slightly more tackles per game, but Rice has a better tackle success rate, makes more interceptions per 90, less fouls, and also makes more passes. But in terms of Declan Rice, according to reports, Arsenal's pursuit of a midfielder in this window won't prevent their pursuit of Declan Rice in the summer. Now, I don't believe that relates to Moises Caicedo, but more if Arsenal were to sign a short-term midfielder, maybe for £20-25 million, because their top target is Declan Rice, their standout man for the summer, and there's a reason why they want to sign him. With a 75% long pass completion, that's the 3rd highest in the Premier League. But Rice is not just a defensive midfielder, he's got so much more to his game, and this stat shows it, as Rodri and Declan Rice are the only 2 players in the Premier League that have over 20 in terms of aerial duels won, tackles made, interceptions, clearances, shots and chances created. Rice is so much more than just a number 6, but even as a number 8. You look at the work of Mikel Arteta with Granit Xhaka, Rice is also a very decent ball carrier, and I believe he's a versatile option, and Mikel Arteta loves that profile of player. So I want you guys to comment down below. It came down to Moises Caicedo versus Declan Rice. Which player would you prefer Arsenal to sign? Moving on to Man City versus Arsenal. We have a gargantuan game in the FA Cup. We're going to the Etihad, and we are up against a team that we are fighting for the Premier League title. The first time that both teams have met this season. It's been long overdue. And in terms of City, they don't have the best of form, winning 3 out of the last 5 games. Whereas in terms of the Arsenal, 4 wins out of 5, and have not been defeated since Brighton in the Carabao Cup Cup before the World Cup. But regardless of the form, this game means more. A chance for both teams to earn a psychological advantage. And at the Etihad, City are unbeaten in the last 6 games. And up against an Arsenal team that has the best away record in the Premier League, they have beaten us 5 times in a row. But in the FA Cup, Arsenal have a history. And the last time we played them, the FA Cup semi-final of 2020, where Mikel Arteta's Arsenal won 2-0. That being said, in terms of the team news, City only have one doubt, and that is Phil Foden. But in terms of the Gunners, Elneny is out with a knee injury. There is still no Gabriel Jesus, who is still out for 4 to 5 weeks. But what about our brand new signing Leandro Trossard? Well, he is fit and available, and according to Gary Jacobs, he is expected to start. But then you also have Jakub Kiwior. Well, here he is settling in Arsenal training, and reports have claimed he has arrived with the Arsenal team to Manchester. But then you have Emil Smith-Rowe, who is not spotted arriving with the Arsenal players. With that all kept in mind, how is Mikel Arteta going to line up? The standard 4-3-3 formation, and I believe goalkeeper Matt Turner with a back 4 of Tomiyasu, Saliba, Kiwior and Tierney, a midfield 3 of Partey, Xhaka and Fabio Vieira, and a front 3 of Leandro Trossard, Eddie Nketiah and Bukayo Saka. It's not the strongest Arsenal 11, but this is not the Premier League, and it's not going to be Arsenal's priority. Arsenal clearly have very good squad depth out wide. The fact that we can throw in Tomiyasu and Tierney just shows that, but also the arrival of Trossard and Kiwior. It gives Arsenal now rotations in different areas. And for Jakub Kiwior, it will be a massive game to throw him in straight away. But as his agent says, Zinchenko dragged Jakub into the changing room after the game against Manchester United, and I think when he saw what kind of atmosphere there was, he already wanted to participate from the pitch. But there are still some areas where Arsenal still need squad depth, especially on the right wing where we only have Bukayo Saka, and there's an amazing stat that says that he has started the last 56 Arsenal Premier League games in a row. Saka is built different, he is an Iron Man. Tactically, this game is going to be quite a battle. Pep Guardiola versus Mikel Arteta. This game is going to be interesting. Both teams play a similar style of football, but Arsenal have a different level of variation. While we can play the attacking style of football, we also have the ability to defend in a very organised deep block. And even though this game isn't in the Premier League, it's a very good opportunity for one of the two teams in the title race to gain a psychological advantage and have the advantage for that massive game on February the 15th as City come to the Emirates. But what are your thoughts going into this game? How strong a team do you think Arsenal need to play? And more importantly, let me know your matchday predictions down below in the comments. But moving on to the other Arsenal news today, and starting off with Martin Odegaard, the Arsenal captain, the Arsenal orchestrator, and the player that's been on fire. And this stat sums it up. Of the players to attempt 30 plus dribbles in this season's Premier League, Odegaard has a 63% success rate, the highest in the Premier League. The ball is stuck to his feet and defenders can't take it off him. As Jamie Carragher says, I think Odegaard at Arsenal has been absolutely sensational. If Arsenal won the title, I think Odegaard's role has been sensational, and I think he's the closest thing to Kevin De Bruyne. It's about time Martin Odegaard got his respect. But moving on to the Arsenal manager, as once again Mikel Arteta has been nominated for the Premier League Manager of the Month, up against the likes of De Zerbi, Cooper, Emery and Frank, and Mikel Arteta has a very good shout. In the tough games against Newcastle, Spurs away, United at home, Arsenal were undefeated with 7 points out of 9. But you also have the star boy Bukayo Saka, who's also been nominated for the January Player of the Month. And talking of awards, here he is alongside KSI, as he was also won the December Arsenal Player of the Month. 7 goals, 7 assists. This guy deserves a different level of respect. He is showing signs of being a top player. 21 years of age, it's scary, but more importantly, according to Arsenal legend Martin Keown, Bukayo Saka is the one player from Mikel Arteta's Arsenal team that would walk into the invincible side. It's a bold statement, especially over Freddie Ljungberg. The Arsenal Invincibles are of course icons, but comment down below, are there any of the current Arsenal players, dare I say, would start for the Invincibles? Well, Martin Keown certainly believes so. But that is the video there and there, so hopefully you guys have enjoyed. If you have, don't forget to go down there to smash a like and also subscribe to the channel if you are new. Also, don't forget to download Top 11 using the link down below in the description. But that was today's episode of the Transfers FC, and as Arsenal tried to sign a midfielder in the final days of the window, it's over to the Etihad. How are Arsenal going to do? We're going to find out, so I will see you next time. Take care and in a bit.